Story number two. Online influencers are growing, and not just like Trump, but like everybody. I don't know if you've heard of names like, where do we start? We talked about them before. Alex Hormozi, what's her name? Yuta, Greg Cardone. Those are some of the guru types, but we talked about Cenat last week. We talked about what's that other kid's name? Aiden Ross. They're just and these kids, these people, these influencers, they're just people. Get online, put a camera in front of them, they talk noise, and they get thousands of millions of people talking about them, which would be billions. But collectively, yeah, billions of eyeballs are flowing through these people's accounts. They're here today, they're gone today, but they're still part of this new machine. It's crazy. And Theo, you have some firsthand experience because you went to InvestFest and got to see some action going on. What's happening with the influencers?
Yeah, man. So I did get a chance to go down to Invest Fest in Atlanta this past weekend. So those who don't know, it was created by Earn Your Leisure podcast that started late 2018 or something. Two guys out in New York, regular dudes. Matter of fact, I think you and I were impressed with it. They started on Anchor of all things from their podcast and blew it up about financial education freedom from a hip hop set, right? I think they took their spiritual following from Nipsey Russell
Hustle.
and the rapper Hustle, excuse me. Did I say Nipsey Russell? Nipsey Hussle, the late great rapper who always talked about investing and doing things in the community. And so they took that same kind of concept and just sprinkled the hip hop around it. And these two brothers, man, they just took it to the next level, man. They got with the right folks at the right time. And so they got connected to celebrities, and then they help build other people's brand. They have a whole ecosystem of other folks like MG the Mortgage guy and Ian the stock guy and all these other guys that are kind of part of the ecosystem. They got with the celebrities like Steve Harvey, right? And Maverick Carter, and all these folks, and Diddy showed up at the last conference. And so I've heard about this. I said, I want to get a different take on, I'm an entrepreneur, but I deal in my little lane with healthcare technology, maybe traditional path. I kind of see what this path was, right? And so I went to InvestFest. Man, you would thought it was a concert, man. I was like, this thing is huge. It was at the Georgia War Congress Center.
Okay.
They had booked up 20,000 people sitting around, man. And you thought it was a concert, man. They were just people on stage just talking about investing, about building wealth. And I was fascinated, man. But you thought you saw all kinds of people dressed in suits, girls dressed in whatever. You thought it was at a concert. It was just like amazing. Then you went to the marketplace and you just walked down the aisles, and I was just talking with entrepreneurs, and everybody's got to hustle, man. You could talk about some person's a book, traditional stuff, brands like a hat brand or a t-shirt brand. Literally, I found a guy that was selling stuff down the street from me, literally down the street from me. I see him every day on the corner selling t-shirts. Shout
Yeah.
out to Lorenzo at New Plug. Saw him at freaking InvestFest. I was like, dude, I see you every day, man. And he was at InvestFest, man. I was like, dude, this is what else you guys? That's all I got right now. I'm blowing up. I said, man, kudos to you. So anyway, what I did was I didn't have a booth. I didn't really have an angle per se, but what I did was I interviewed folks like in a style of, hey, tell me about what you do as an entrepreneur. So I had a videographer. So now I'm going to share that with them, and hopefully we can do some collabs and stuff. So I met a lot of folks in my space, the healthcare CEO, and then Nurse Alice. But I met some interesting folks from Derrick Sands, the morning stand up, or what's it called? Forgot the name of his podcast, but David Sands, he does a podcast, big podcast. He interviews everybody.
Social proof.
Social proof. Thank you. And so, I interviewed some of his people, and I interviewed people. Remember we talked about the Black Bread Company. So I found the Black companies. One was the Black Coffee, and I saw the Black Condom Company. I got the both of them.
You get some coffee, condoms, and bread. All right.
All Black, man. All Black all the time. But yeah, man. So it's just like the next level that, remember how local we had those little swap meets or little in the hood, little areas of where the vendors would sell a little thing. It's just like that next level up. And it's just more of a bigger level. And I was impressed by it, man. This is something they built. So anyway, so to me, I thought it was inspiring to see how this germinated from just a podcast and built this whole community of folks connecting on another level. And of course, you got real estate agents, investors, the traditional stuff, people selling courses, art, all kinds of stuff, man. And it was just pretty inspiring. But yeah, it was on the back of influencers though, man. Most of these folks were, regular folks making money in their own little spheres, and he just took it to the next level by having a platform on social media. And now they have their own brand, they're following 100,000 followers. And now they're making consistent revenue because they have a path to generate, and having events like this helps. So yeah, so I thought it was very impressive, man. Yeah. So like I said, you'll see some of my stuff at the real Theo Harvey, some of my other experiences on my other platforms.
Yeah.
But I tell you, man, it's very interesting.
It's funny. If anybody was going to be ready for the influencer season, it's gonna be some black people. You wanna know what's hot in the streets, you go get it,
Good
and
point.
I don't care what avenue you go to, you're talking about, like, the Deion Sanders. I don't know anybody who's made any noise in the chip space except Master P coming in with Rap Snacks. It's
Yeah.
sounds
They were
come
there. They were
Yes,
there.
it sounds corny, but if you're just gonna do a chip that doesn't have some that's not sourced from soybeans or something, or have some kind of cultural thing like that, then it's no, we just have a chip, and it's got wrappers on the packages. They're Rap Snacks. They're delicious. Get in here, son. So with all these new ways of influencing coming in, and don't let us even get talking to the video game space and the TikTok space and all that, Twitch
Yeah.
space. That's when we talked about that last time with Kai Cenat and Pinky Doll. As I said, we have characters, and that respectfully, we have characters that are far beyond what anybody else is doing. It's amazing and it's fun, but, you gotta watch these people a little bit, and now we have pocket watchers out there. Keep them safe. And you put me on JT the Pocket
Yeah.
Watcher and had me laughing, but,
But you watched some of his stuff? Did you watch some of his stuff?
yeah, I like seeing what the pocket watchers, and that's what I'm gonna call them all now. I used to call them I used to have a different name for them. What were they called? Not the
Um,
doubters, not the
the
haters.
haters? The
No, no, but there were people who would watch out, like Coffeezilla is another
mhm.
big one.
Yeah, he's a little bit corny with it, but he's, like, very detailed and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
I
mean,
see his stuff.
you gotta keep these people on their toes because there's I call it being scamalicious. Is it really a
Mhm.
scam or are they just scamalicious? Because there are like Ty Lopez did a Black Friday sale. I usually get most of this stuff on sale so I can see what they're like and what they're about and what
Yeah.
I should
Yeah.
and shouldn't get from them. But Ty Lopez had this sale. It was $10,000. Now it's $49 for the next hour. And I'm like,
And you know what? You're not wrong. They go way down describe this man amazingly. It's worth $10,000. I'm only gonna give you the 49.99.
yeah,
Frank Kern is notorious for that. I get his emails all the time.
yeah. Yeah, it's, "Hey, just pay $4." It's before you click to pay the $4, you could pay $400, but let me tell you why. It's okay. But yeah, it gives you an angle on what they're doing, what they're getting into. And in my in my looking at these things, you gotta keep checking on these people. So we may have to do another update if online influence is growing. We have to do another update on like the scam level, what to look out for, where to spend money, where not to, and understand what you're getting into. Because
Yeah, I would caution everybody. People just so hungry for something to help them grow some tidbit. The vast majority of folks probably sell courses. Sure. You get what you get out of those courses. Some of them have masterminds or they work with you to build something great. And that could be worthwhile if it's legitimately, are they really helping you with something? But I agree, man. I think, and it's just good. I like to have balance in the force. So I
oh
want to
yeah,
get a sense of, yes, this is so hype. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But is it though? And JT, he goes in there and talks to some of his stuff. But I was listening to what's the guy's name? He's the guru that everybody talks about. He came up with the whole leverage in your time. He was talking Ravikant. I don't know if you heard of him. He does a lot of people
oh
quote him
Naval,
about. Thank you, Naval.
Naval Ravikant.
And yeah, he talked about this. He said there's two types of things, games you can play. You can play the wealth game or you can play the status game. And the people who criticize the people who are always telling you how to make money and all this stuff, they're playing that status game. So, and that's like always, that's a zero sum game, right? Because they try to make themselves look better, believe me, versus them. And so sometimes there's that sense of if you get stuck in that world, that kind of pettiness and the hatefulness, you're not gonna play the real game, which is wealth, which is there's no zero sum game to that, right? You can always create wealth. I try not to get stuck in. I just want to get enough picture, but then you can go down a rat hole and think everybody's a scam, and you get stuck in this pettiness where you never get out
Yeah,
and want to grow
yeah,
anything.
yeah, exactly.
No, anyway, so I agree though. Thanks for bringing that up, the pocket watchers. But I did want to say one thing. Everybody I talked to, man, I did about 15 interviews with different folks, from social media to books to the family that were building a family brand. They had the whole motif, like 1800s. They were dressed up in like classical outfits as a black family.
Oh,
And
geez.
that was their brand. Yeah, it was like, so I'm excited to see how these videos turn out and how my interviews do and see if I can get some play off of that.
Yeah.
Because everybody had like different take, and I asked them like the same three questions. I was like, if someone's going to build a brand in 2023, what three things would you do? And they boom, boom. I got the guy who created watches. And so I think it's going to be some good content
Mm,
I put out
mm,
there to
okay.
get a perspective on what the state of entrepreneurship is now. And that's going to be my series I'm going to launch here in a short little while on social media. But
Alright.
one thing, and then I'll let this go. One thing that kind of made me think about this was the Alex Hormozi event that happened last weekend.
Yeah.
I think you and I attended. So yeah, Alex Hormozi, he's just one of these guys that blew up out of nowhere, but he was working underground for like years building his gym brand, right?
Mhm.
And now he's become this big guru when it comes to like business development. And the guy, he's just very clear about like he's very thorough in how he explains things. And the fact that I think the people gravitate to him is number one, he knows his stuff, right? Because the way he talks about it, he's very thorough and deep thinker, but he offers it for free, his education for free, because his game is not trying to get you a course from you or some kind of, he's playing that long game where he's going to put equity into you and buy your company. And so it's a different angle. So he can play a longer game than a lot of these other gurus. And so I think that's why he's be able to build his brain a lot faster. And so he just had a
Yeah.
big event. He launched his new book, and he said he had 500,000 people show up and this and that. And you buy this book, you're gonna get the acquisition.com pack and all this other stuff. I was just like, dude, this dude, he doesn't come off as like that. I never see him be on that level, right? He's just always been. I remember his videos where he's just sitting with a little whiteboard, just talking about here's the rules of how you do this. Now he's got this billboard of all these faces behind him and doing this big presentation. I was like, that's what you do, man. You level up. And it's good for him.
Yeah, I haven't seen a book launch like that in a while, so that was pretty phenomenal, actually. Yeah, shout out to him. We'll watch his pockets too.
Like I said, but he's playing a different game, man. That's the thing. And so Gary V, right? Gary V don't make his money off his videos and stuff. He's making it off B2B sales, right? But he's building a brand presence for just helping people.
Yeah,
And I think that's the smart way to play this game, right? Yeah, if you just if you make your money from the equity side or business side, but you're just building this influence of folks that, and then you leverage that some kind of way with either through book sales
yeah,
or maybe buying their business or if you're like Gary V, because he says, I know what people want, I can help you advertise to them because I talk to them all the time. I think that may be a better business model than trying to sell courses to people all the time. Because I think that's gonna get old.
yeah. And Gary V, I rock with him, and I get a lot of hate from my engineering and computer science type friends who are like, "Gary V, F that guy," and I'm like, he's got a game going on, but you should actually check him out." He surprised me when he made that twist. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, I've been working to play to get into doing Super Bowl commercials in a big way, and part of doing Super Bowl commercials is to get closer to his dream of owning the Jets." Yeah, he's definitely got a play going on that's not the Planners campaign, Planners Peanuts. I don't know, the Mr. Peanut character died. There was a whole story behind it and everything. Yeah, that's just really interesting stuff. And yeah, that's totally the play.
Yeah. So more to come on that, man. But yeah, loving it. Love these influencers, and hopefully we're both trying to do a little bit on our own, right? And build up our influence. So I'm just learning from the best.
Yeah. Oh, and I just registered for Trump Social. We were talking about influencers. So I got on Trump Social. Dude, this is comedy. It's it's just comedy in general. His only crime, he loves his country too much. I will vote for him. I will vote for him no matter what. Says Lynn 47. She's a Trump supporting cooker. She supports food and truth.
I
This
love
is
it.
interesting. I'm sorry. I jump on these networks to see what other people are talking about.
Man, we live in a world, we talk about this all the time, but I've seen it more and more, man. People, they get obsessed with you, right? You have so much content or and video content that people just eat it up. That they just whatever you say, whatever you do, they're gonna believe it, man. You see it again. I've seen it in the Christian world where I talked about that. Christian influencers are big now. You look at these people, they get 100,000 views. Myron Golden, like the Bible teacher, he gets 100,000 views. We talked about Alex Hormozi. It's just doesn't matter what field you're in, man. It doesn't matter now. It's just you just have the influencers
All right.
and you make the money.
All right. So we're gonna continue with this because this is always a story, and we're going a little bit long on this one. But we're going to set up, maybe do this yearly. I don't know. The online influencer bracket.
Yeah, I love it.
We'll do a tournament,
Write
tournament
that
style,
down. We can do
see
it.
who
We can
comes out
do
on
it.
top.
Do it. We can do it.
You bring your top dudes, I bring my top dudes, and we'll see how it all shakes
Oh,
out.
we know it's gonna be there. Derrick Grace. We know that's
Hey,
gonna be your number one. It's gonna be your number
what
one seed.
what's funny? Dude, I posted a picture of him, and people were like, "Did you mess with this dude?" And they in the DMs, like, no one actually commented, but I got a couple DMs, and people were like, "You messing with this dude? I don't know, he's scamming." I'm like, "Wow." The whole reason I got with him because he does organic marketing and this kinda underground guerrilla style shock
Ace.
value, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wow." Just showing his face did what I hoped it would do
Get that.
according to his teaching. I'm not worried about learning financial literacy from Derrick Grace, but his whole vibe just, and I'm like, "This guy." And yeah, he actually did have a $5 sale one day. You're talking about going from thousands to $5. He did that for a day, and the next day, it was back to normal prices, and he was reading off people's DMs and messages, and they were like, "Nah, man, I got in on time." And he goes, "See, this dumbass right here don't know how to do time zones properly." He came in, and it was past the time on the time zone. "Look, man, I'm over here in the East Coast. You gotta get with it. Time already passed for you. You too slow." And I'm just like, this guy is using everybody's comments and everything as content, and just it was, never mind.
I love it.
You get
I
the
love
point.
it. Nah, I get it. That's perfect. I love it.
Alright.